If you are anything like me, you have chased productivity like a badge of honor. More tasks, more hours, and more hustle. But what if we are measuring it all wrong? We actually have, and this is a mistake that we all make at some point because that fits the traditional definition of productivity. I just finished reading Slow Productivity by Cal Newport, and man, it flipped my brain. In this video, I'll be distilling the key points mentioned in the book along with some personal anecdotes and how they fit my life and the lessons that I've learned, and hopefully you guys can take something out of it. Hey guys, I'm Anudeep. I'm a software engineer by the day, and on this channel I have been making YouTube videos on topics relating to self-development, productivity, entrepreneurship and tech, along with some AI and coding and stuff. So if any of those things strike a bell, please consider subscribing. Enough of the plug. Let's get started. Also, if you find my voice different, that is because I have a sore throat, but hey, it is what it is, and what needs to be done needs to be done. Let's get to it. We have all been using this outdated formula for productivity, that is, outputs divided by time. And it made sense, absolute sense in the industrial age. How many widgets per hour you could make, how many cars per line. It was simple, measurable, and even incentivized because the more outputs you could produce and the more profit there is, the more money there is, and money drives everything in life, right? But here's the thing, we are not factory workers anymore. Most of us are knowledge workers. We write, strategize, code, design, coordinate, whatnot, and it is not just one linear task done again and again. It is multiple and often overlapping tasks and rarely linear. And because we didn't have a clear metric to measure this sort of productivity, we invented a stand-in, that is busyness. If you're always replying to emails, always in the Zoom fatigue as they call it, or frantically typing away, you must be productive, right? But all of these leads to something what Cal Newport calls pseudo-productivity. It looks like work, but really it is just motion without any end result. Long hours, endless toggling between apps, Zoom calls as I mentioned, and all this not because we are actually lazy, but we are trying to look productive rather than actually being productive and efficient. And the concept of slow productivity actually flips it. It asks us, what if your goal isn't to, do as much as possible and work faster, but to do what deeply matters and which can have an everlasting impact for long periods of time, and above all, without burnout. With all that being said, let's dive right into the 3 core principles of slow productivity. We all love starting new things, a new skill, a simple side project, or an idea, but every yes is a no to something else. Cal Newport shares the example of Jane Austen. People used to think that she wrote her books and articles and whatever art she produced and whatever name she made for herself. She did that work by working in small blocks of time while doing her chores, and it feels fascinating to, listen to these stories, but it seems like it's all myth, and real evidence shows that some of her best works came when her family moved to a quiet village where she could really immerse in the work that she was doing. And even Newton and Galileo, they did their works in long stretches of time. They took decades to create these masterpieces which are still relevant. One idea that really stuck with me is the idea of push versus pull tasks. Here is what it actually means. Most of us live in this mode where if something excites us, a new idea, a task, a side hustle, whatever it is, we just push it straight to our to-do lists. But the thing is, our to-do lists are actually already overflowing with tasks, and we don't have time to do those things, to take on those new exciting projects, and it is all a shit show. We generally are not mindful to think if we have the time or energy to devote to that particular new task or interest or idea, the time and the energy that it deserves. But everything we do, this push task thingy, we are overloading a system that is already running on its full capacity, and that is exactly when things start falling apart. Projects are half done, we get anxious, and worst of all, we start to believe that we are not good at that thing, or that we are not capable of finishing tasks, or we are, a nobody, because the proof that we give to ourselves day in and day out, it sort of goes into our subconscious mind, and that's what your life becomes then. The pull method flips that. It says that only start something new when you actually have space for it. Look at your calendar. Is there an empty slot? Have you finished something recently and created some room for this new project that you're about to start? If not, then don't start, And this shift might sound small, but it is actually massive. It turns your to-do list into a guilt trap and a trash trove of everything that you want to do, to something that is concrete and planned and something that you want to achieve and will achieve if you consistently take action. It helped me stop saying yes to everything and saying yes to the right things at the right time. And that is actually the sweet spot. That is where magic happens, because you can now give your full attention to one thing or two or not more than 3 things at least, instead of these tiny 10 things which are pulling you apart in all directions. And this method has saved me from overwhelm so many times in the last few weeks, because if I don't intentionally make space, I end up doing everything halfway, doing it incomplete, and that is sort of where most of the anxiety kicks in. Not from doing the actual hard work, but from juggling these 10 to 20 different small things and having my attention span distributed among all of them, and I'm not able to make progress on any of those. So yeah, as I said, it is a shit show. There is urgency in our work culture which came from the Industrial Revolution. As I mentioned, more output is equal to more profit. But that doesn't work for the modern creative work that is also meaningful. Look at people who made timeless work. By timeless, people whose works spanned centuries. They moved slowly. They moved thoughtfully. They followed seasons in their lives. And this is something that I've been doing too since the last 6 months. I treat each quarter, that is each 3-month period of an entire year, as a season of my life. And some seasons can be stressful, some can be relaxing, but I'm never burnt out, because burnout never comes from hard work. Burnout never comes from pushing yourself to the fullest, but it comes from always being on. For example, in this season of life, I'm learning web development because, I come from a robotics background and I have expertise in C++ and Python and machine learning and all that stuff, but I don't know web dev and basically mobile apps development and all that stuff. So I, want to build things on my own. So I'm learning that on the side. And I also have a 9-to-5 job. So I'm trying to grow in that. I want to perform well in that. So I'm, focused on that as well. And I'm also working on this YouTube channel to grow and to, make videos and share my ideas online. So those are my major big 3 projects at the moment. And so this is a time of intense hustle and intense hard work. But there have been seasons in the past where I have just chilled out. I have gone out on weekends for hikes and for movie nights, and maybe by the end of the year I'll be visiting my home, so that'll be a chill period. The entire point of all this is to embrace this idea of seasonality, wherein some periods involve intense hard work, but those periods of hard work have to be followed by periods of leisure and relaxation and all that good jazz. Because most of these prominent knowledge workers in the past, they worked in seasons and they were never working Monday through Friday every single day of the year, every single year of their lives. And this principle sort of helped me normalize rest, not as a reward, but as a part of the process. And when I sort of honor my own pace, the pace at which I'm learning things, the pace at which I'm doing things, the pace at which I feel that I no more have FOMO, I actually end up producing better work. And I have strong belief that you will also notice this too if you follow this principle. When you stop trying to squeeze in every hour of the output, your creativity starts to breathe again. And to work at your natural pace, you need fewer things, which ties back to the first point of doing less things at a particular point of time. Now this one hit home because it is counterintuitive at the start. You need to put on those reps to be better at something, right? But whether it's for the code that I write or the videos that I produce, I often feel if I just had one extra day or a couple of extra days, I could have made that end product amazing. I mean, nobody watched my YouTube videos at start, but now I have some 600 subscribers and some people comment on my videos, some like it. I gain subscribers with every video. So I have gotten better at it with repetition and with improvement every single time. And the same is with coding. When you start lead coding, you can't even solve the easy ones, but with repetition and practice and improvement, you are able to solve even the hard ones, right? So repetition is exactly the mechanism that builds taste, so that ultimately you can produce quality work, whether it be in terms of your Excel sheet or your code or video or whatever your output is in this modern world. But one interesting thing that I have realized is that the actual goal is to get them done well, and that requires patience, iteration, and giving yourself the permission and the time to not rush. Yes, definitely, you need to get in the reps, the quantity, but always have in mind that the end goal is this pristine quality, because it is this quality that will separate you from the competition and give you exponential returns. So if you made it to this part of the video, I want to give a bonus tip to the people who clicked off the video at just a 2-minute mark. So here it is. There is another point Cal mentions And this is something that I have also come to truly appreciate, and that is to deeply value the leisure time that we have in our lives. And I don't just mean taking breaks to recharge, truly embracing activities that have nothing to do with your career, your goals, or your output. When we paint, play music, go for hikes, or even, read some fiction books, some sort of shift happens in our brain. Even I felt that. And these aren't just fun extras, they sort of activate entirely different parts of the brain. They help you think laterally, they help you breathe in a way, because they help you realize what it is to enjoy something without needing a reason. And ironically, those moments lead to some of your best ideas. The solution you couldn't crack at your desk? Go for a walk. It hits you when you're walking, or strumming your guitar, or even watching a sunset. Why? Because your brain isn't being squeezed, it's flowing. And there's real science behind this too. Trust me, this is not based on just feelings. Studies show that non-work related activities increase creative problem solving and long-term well-being. And that is exactly the reason why I don't treat playing the guitar or journaling or even aimless walks nowadays as useless activities. I treat them just like tools to improve my critical thinking, my creative problem solving, to clear my mind, just as I use tools like my phone or my laptop or my calendar or whatever. So, if you're constantly feeling guilty for stepping away, here is your permission. You are not wasting time. You are investing in some perspective. Alright guys, thank you so much for sticking around. If you are a knowledge worker, whether you are a developer, a designer, in medicine, in finance, law, whatever it is, I'm just scratching the surface here. Please go and read the book. It might change your life. Thank you guys for watching around and watching this video. As always, it means a lot. Let me know in the comments down below what your definition of productivity is. I always read all my comments because it's a small channel right now. So yeah, it's all good, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.